A very welcome to this session on Sparklines, one of the awesome features within Microsoft Excel. This is Dinesh Kumar, Funda Sheikh. Before we get into Excel, a couple of use cases. Sparklines can be used to build meaningful and responsive dashboards with very little effort. These are actually tiny charts that resides within a cell. So unlike normal charts which are objects, these Sparklines serves as background of a cell. So we'll see in our examples that how this feature is very useful. And because of these features, Sparklines helps bring greater insights into bland data sets. Think of a scenario when you want to show the variation within a data set over a period of time. Using Sparklines, you could show this variation in a highly effective manner, but with very little effort. So without spending much of time, let's get right away into Excel and look at all the live and practical examples. So here we are, and as you can see, I've already created a couple of Sparklines over here. These are small, tiny charts, very attractive, and believe me, really easy to make. So let's look at the first tiny chart over here, which we have. It is a trend line, so it's basically a line sparkline, and as you understand that this is more applicable for data points in which you can really want to see the variation, how it has behaved over a period of time. The second type of sparkline is a column sparkline. Again, the same kind of rules apply as in trend line. The third option for sparkline is a win-loss sparkline. As the name suggests, win-loss, so that it applies more to binary data. Okay, so we'll look at how to create each of these sparklines subsequently. So in order to create these sparklines, first we need to navigate to the tab Insert, and then there is a section called Sparklines over here, in which we have three options: line sparkline, column sparkline, and win-loss sparkline. Let's see how we can create each of these. So in order to create a sparkline, first you need to navigate to the cell where you want to create these sparklines. Click on the type of sparkline which we intend to create, that is in this particular case line sparkline. So click on it, and then there is this pop-up which opens up, in which you need to select the data range. So here we'll select the data from Jan to June, and the second cell is basically you need to select the cell in which you intend to create this particular sparkline. By default, the cell wherein you had clicked initially will be populated. Okay, so let's click on OK, and here we have a sparkline. So, but there's something unusual over here. We see that there is a particular gap in this trend line. Why is it so? Let's look at the data. So we can see that for the month of March, there is no data available, and that is the reason why we see a gap in this trend line. So how do we intend to treat such anomalies? In order to do this, there are certain handlers which are provided by Excel. So let's look at that. So when you click on any cell in which there's a sparkline present, and there is a contextual menu which appears over here. As you can see, the menu is Sparkline Tools, under which there's a tab called Design. Whereas if you click anywhere else, this particular contextual tab is gone. So let's see how we can handle these sparkline anomalies wherein there is no data present. So click on Edit Data, then Hidden and Empty Cells, and there's this pop-up which opens up, in which there are three options. That is, show empty cells as gaps. So this is a default option, and that is why we see a gap in our trend line. The second option is 0. So as you can understand, if we select this option, the empty values will be replaced with 0, and then correspondingly your line charts will be populated. The third option is connect data points with line. as you can understand, that this is in this particular case, what will happen is 5 and 11, that is your second and fourth data point in this particular case, will be connected through a straight line. Okay, let's look at the other types of sparklines. So we'll follow the same procedure. Insert, click on column, and then again select the data range and go. And here we have another sparklines. Very easy to create, right? Now, we were discussing earlier that these sparklines are actually embedded. That is, it serves as a background of these cells. So what happens is you're actually free to insert anything else. Any text over here you can actually insert. So both the text as well as these tiny charts are retained in the cell. So, and if you click on, and if you intend to delete this data, you can do it, and still your sparklines remain, because it is not actually data in that particular cell, rather it is a background. So how to clear these sparklines? So for this, again, go to the contextual menu, Sparkline Tools, Design tab, and then click on Clear. This will clear the sparklines from that particular cell in which you intend to do that. Okay, let's bring it back. The next type of sparkline is win loss, which we discussed earlier, that this particular sparkline applies more to binary data. So we'll follow the same procedure to create the sparkline. Insert, click on win loss, select the data range, and we are done. So let's analyze this sparkline. So for the month of Jan, the value is positive. So our first bar is on the positive side. Whereas for the month of Feb and June, the values are negative. And that is why we see that the second bar and the last bar are actually on the negative side. So now it must be clear that this particular data is more applicable to binary data. Let's look at how can we further personalize or change the design of these sparklines. Very easy to do. A lot of options over here. So for example, if you select any of these themes, the sparklines change accordingly. These are very responsive, changes immediately based on any change in the data points, as we can see over here. And let's look at what are the other things which are available over here. So let's see if we want to highlight the highest data point over here. This is how it can be highlighted. Just click on, these are the different options which we have over here: high point, low point, negative points, first, last, all these points. So all these things could be highlighted using these features. Okay, and these marker colors, that is, for example, highest point, in which in this particular case we highlighted the highest point, and if we want to show it in a particular color, we can just go and select it from here. Okay, so all these options are there in terms of which will help you to further customize the look and feel of the sparklines. So that is all. In case if you have any questions, please do write in your questions in the comments section, and I'll respond to it.